What's up? Here to have a video from Mick O'Keefe, and I have to say a big shout out to Mick O'Keefe because, when he's sifting through this stuff on social media, I don't know how he does it because honestly, this stuff would drive me to lolly if I was looking at this day in, day out. But he's picked out a new niche of foreigners in particular, claiming that they're as Irish as we are, and it's not going well for them. And what's ended up happening here, and what will end up happening, is there'll be a building of resentment, there will, and it's potentially, well, what shall I say? Potentially one group in particular that wants to be as ostentatious and in your face as this guy. Make of that what you will, but other groups don't seem to be interested in trying to claim this sort of stuff. Like, I have Eastern European friends, and in particular they don't view themselves as being Irish, and they don't view their offspring as being as Irish as I am. That's how they view things, and that's it. I mean, their own kids, they have their own language they do, and it's just not a question with them. They're like, this is your country and we can go back to ours, and that's it. So amazing stuff. Whereas you were having to put up now with this sort of nonsense that we're seeing. We've seen it in America, we've seen it in the UK, and we thought it was funny when it was happening there, but it's happening here now, and it's not so funny. And what you've seen is a particular culture that wants to come in and it wants to claim that they're as Irish as you are. And some people have decided to accept that and say, yeah, okay, me and my others out there, I'd say the large majority of people understand what's going on and have said no thanks to that. And the culture itself wants to then claim it's as Irish as you are, but at the same time wants to order themselves and claim that when you say that they are not as Irish as you are, that you are racist. So this is the dilemma that people are facing, and it's a dilemma that has happened in America. So what has happened in America, just on a different note, and in the UK, is there's a crime culture there, and of course then a very small percentage of the population in America accounts for a large proportion of the crime. So I don't like that when you point that out. And essentially as well, in London, another situation could be a certain type of crime that's perpetrated over there. It seems to be done by a specific group. Now, I won't say the specific group, but I will remark that Idris Elba decided to make a big statement about it. So it felt like, he was speaking to certain individuals. But anyway, offended by everything, ashamed of nothing here when it comes to these things. And listen, I don't think that I'm Nigerian, but I don't think it would be too long before I think we should send a leftist in particular over to Nigeria and let them go into the middle of Nigeria and tell them that the first Nigerian people were white, blonde haired, blue eyed, and that the Nigerians there are really just migrants from elsewhere, and see how that shakes out. Now, another thing that's important in this video is he mentions that the first Irish people are black with blue eyes. I'm not even joking, this is something that's been made up. Some person that's allegedly an academic, and this is what I'm saying about these things from academics, you have to look at them and say, like, who is funding them, who is paying them to say these nonsensical things. Personally speaking, I think someone seen the movie Dune, seen Zendaya, and was like, okay, we'll just claim that this was the original Irish person. You know what I mean? So because Zendaya has blue eyes, and that's all. For anyone that doesn't get that joke, that's why. Okay, so Zendaya is a black girl with blue eyes in that movie, and that was just a gag if you haven't seen that movie. So sometimes I have to explain the gags because people haven't seen the movie, don't get the reference. But anyway, we shall swiftly move on. So what you get to see then is what I'm liking to call now. I'm calling it. Now we'll get to this video in a second. Just want to make sure that buffers, because sometimes Twitter does act up. It does. But what you're after saying previously is what I like to call militant leftism. And militant leftism looks at like what Drake Cannon was doing. So I'm just going to explain it out here in this video so that everyone understands. But militant leftism, what we've been saying, is someone that's trying to forcefully annoy people into accepting them as Irish. So Drake Cannon, for example, Jamaican, who's running around telling people he's Irish. He is absolutely not Irish. This wouldn't be entertained in Chad or Mumbai or Scarachi or some other kips that satirical soldiers be talking about. Scarachi probably isn't a real place. And, a lot of kips that you haven't even heard of before, satirical soldier will be able to rattle them off there. But anyway, we have a culture then of people that have been bludgeoned and berated and browbeaten with, I'm as Irish as you are, and people are like, no thanks. And then it's gotten militant with the likes of Drake Cannon. This is the next step, okay? And this is what I like to call suggestive leftism. This is called annoyance leftism. Now, how I can view this and how I pinpointed it, because I like to say that I have a laser focus on it now, is looking at what's happened in America. So what America, and this fella's body posture and the way he says things as well, it's calm, it's what shall I say, salesman-like. And that's what we've seen with the left in America, in particular the likes of the Democrat campaign that's just ran. What they've ran with for the last, shall I say, even 8 years, maybe even a little bit more than that, probably 12, I would say, is this campaign of we're nice guys, and the other side are not nice guys. And they use words like, we have dignity, we have morals, we have values, we have principles, we have respect. These are the types of things that these people say. And then the same token then want to censor people for what they are saying, don't believe in what they're saying whatsoever, will attack someone verbally and also physically, but at the same time claim that they are just such nice people. So that's what I like to call suggestive leftism, and we've seen it not too long ago in this campaign in America, and this is why I'm saying it's important to watch what's going on in the wider world, because it also applies here. And I do believe that this is what you're seeing here in this video. So we're seeing suggestive and annoyance leftism to try and browbeat people in a different way. The militant approach didn't work, and it's not going to work, but this is an approach that these people think is going to win individuals over. Get a guy that looks like a pint of Guinness out here, says that they can say that he is as Irish as you are because he looks like the pint of Guinness. He's probably at a packet of Tato, and this is the end result.
A lot of people in Ireland, they sort of call themselves natives, but really there's very few people who are natives. In fact, if you look...
So I just want to open that up, and this is what I'm saying. In the first 8 seconds here, I'm just going to give a little breakdown here. Like, look at the way the head is positioned, look at the way he says things, look at how he says things. We'll just look at it again.
A lot of people in Ireland, they sort of call themselves natives, but really...
So that's an important thing what he just did there. Sort of called themselves natives, and then he shakes his head. Now what that is that's a visual cue to you as the person who's looking at this, and this is what I'm talking about, subliminal messaging as well. Like, I mean, whether this guy is doing this consciously or unconsciously, I don't know. He's then reading off what seems to be a teleprompter then later on. So that makes me believe that the genuine side of this is not there, that it's just someone putting them up to it or whatever it might be to create a TikTok environment. Because this is what also a specific culture is interested in, and we've seen it over the last weeks as well too, where people are walking into lecture halls and they're playing music and standing on tables, and that's all I'll say about that, because if you get into it further, there's other people that would view it differently. But this is the suggestive leftism that I'm talking about. See what he's saying?
Ireland, they sort of call themselves natives, but really...
So what a native Irish person is, because Kieran Cuddihy had difficulty with this there from News Talk, and he was like, but people that are actually saying that they're native, it's just an excuse to be racist and to say that only white people can be Irish. Incorrect there, Kieran. What it means to be Irish is to be a Gaelic person. That's what that means. And a person that rocks in here from Nigeria or from Ukraine or from France or from Spain or anything like that, they're not Irish. That's it. End of story. Not interested in knowing. If Eric Cantona himself walked into this country and claimed that he was Irish, I would say, absolutely not, mate. You are French. End of story. Done. And he is an absolute legend, of course, in the footballing game. But you see what I'm saying? It's not selective. Everyone's like, no. Okay? That's how it is.
There's very few people who are natives. In fact, if you look at the ancient history of Ireland, you will find out that the most...
Now, when he's saying that there's very few people that are natives, what he's inferring, in my belief here, again, I'm not a psychologist here or anything like that, and I certainly am into Professor Xavier from the X-Men. I can't look into this guy's mind and hear his thoughts or anything like that. But when he's saying that people are not natives, this is a new regime apparatus thing, where it tries to say to you that if you have had family in the past, whether it be grandfather, grandmother, great-grandfather, whatever it might be, or a great-uncle, whatever like that, that was from like a different part of Ireland even, or even they might be from, say for example, Scotland, or they might be from Wales, or they might be from parts of England, that they have now determined that the African can come in here and be wholly African and claim that they're as Irish as you are. You know what I'm saying? This is where we're at right now, and people have a lot of difficulty to process that. I know that's a difficult one to understand, but this is what we're seeing now. We're seeing people come from foreign cultures and foreign countries come in here and tell you, no, I'm Irish as you are, and you're like, what? And then they use the media then to browbeat people and to be like, well, you have a great-grandparent that seems to be hailing from Glasgow. That makes you not Irish, and it makes you just as equal as Kelechi here. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what they're at now. So be aware of that game that they're playing.
Find out that the most native of people in Ireland was
Now, that's not even the video buffering here. I mean, the guy buffers in real time. Have a look at this here, and that just shows you that it's not genuine and it's not sincere, in my view.
of people in Ireland.
Now, I don't know whether he's having a difficulty with speaking the language or whether it's just that he's trying to read whatever's been said here, and I mean, you can see the shell out here. I don't know whether that's a phone that's been held up in front of him, whether that is what is recording him, or whether that's been held as what would be a possible teleprompter.
Of
I mean, that's incredible.
ancient history of Ireland,
Let's have a look
you
at it
will
again.
find out that the most native of people in Ireland was actually from Egypt, which is in Africa.
What?
There's actually the
So, like, you know that way he said that's not even a genuine point that he means. He's saying that, and then he's like, I think even in his own head, he's like, wow. You know what I mean? Like,
the most native of people in Ireland was actually from Egypt, which is in Africa.
what?
There's actually the parent of the Gaels, yeah, from Africa.
Now, the way he said, yeah, he doesn't believe that. You know what I mean? Like, that's a clear and easy way of looking at this, to be like, shit, is that real? You know, because then, like, guys like this are running around social media and are telling you, we was pharaohs. Oh, okay, right. And now they're telling you that they were samurai and everything. Like this is where we are. And the reason why I'm saying that is because there's a guy called Yasuki that's going to be our protagonist now in the upcoming Assassin's Creed game. It's a video game for anyone under the age of, I suppose, people be in their 50s now, be given out in the comments. For anyone under the age of 50 that plays video games, you are aware of what's going on social media. But a specific studio called Ubisoft has come out and they are putting a black samurai in the game, and they have tried to claim that that is historical accuracy. So much so, right? It got so much blowback that the Japanese government discussed it, and they were like, this is absolutely not right. And they were telling them, like, this is not historically accurate at all. Like, they went to town on it. They did. I think they're actually in the midst of potentially even banning the game. I think over there, the Japanese are based, like, they don't mess around, they don't, you know. But this is what this is what you get here. This guy that's like, yeah. So hang on, if we're believing that we were the pharaohs and all like that, and then you come over to Ireland and everyone's pasty with red hair and everything like that, how are we now claiming that we are Irish also? You know, that sort of way. You can see it happening with his head in real time. That's a great little meme, that thing.
There's actually the parent of the Gaels, yeah, from Africa. Many people are migrants in Ireland.
Migrates, okay.
We all have migrated from somewhere.
And see, that's the last point then, to let you know as well, like, oh, we've all migrated from somewhere, that we're all totally the same. No, we aren't. Okay. If I ran a race with Usain Bolt, he is not the same as me. Kylian Mbappe is not the same as me, because they are far faster than I am. Like, we're not. Like, I just need to point that out here. And I mean, I can absolutely unequivocally say that they are faster runners than me. Would they be better swimmers though? I don't know about that. So anyway, moving on to this, you're seeing this guy then, he finishes it off, and I have to be honest with you, when I saw the video, I said to myself, the funniest part of it is the end, insofar as how he says it.
Migrated from somewhere. So, slán. A lot of people
That's
in Ireland
potentially, and I mean, I've seen a lot of stuff here over the years on Twitter, but that is one of the gayest endings to a video that I've ever seen, and so unexpected, because he goes through the video not too bad, and then he's like, it's land. I'm like, what is that? Who is he hanging around with to be the way that he is in the ending part of that? But anyway, lads, I thought I'd come on here today, I'd show you that video, because it's nonsense. And as you can see there, I'm in Port Lorga, also called Waterford, and the TikTok trend, you see, this is one part of the social media stuff, and some people can make quick bucks, they can, on the likes of TikTok. I'm not on TikTok yet. A lot of people suggested for me to go over there and post clips and that from here to there, and they're like, Ninja, you do quite well over there. But this is what's happening.